All right, welcome back to the channel. So we have a great fight coming up this weekend between Vasyl Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez. Chris Algieri, a former 140-pound champion and contender at 147 pounds, says he can see Teofimo Lopez knocking out Vasyl Lomachenko. And I can see that too. Let's talk about that in this video, along with the fact that the WBC just gave the winner, whoever it is, Teofimo Lopez or Vasyl Lomachenko, a license to duck Devin Haney, which I think is just absolutely positively, it's ridiculous. But let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So Teofimo Lopez is going to be fighting Vasyl Lomachenko this weekend for a 3 belts. The WBA Super Lightweight Championship, WBA Super, oh God, though one of those titles, the WBA Super, not the WBA regular, the WBA Super, and the WBO and the IBF. And now, because the WBC is just a absolutely just terrible organization, that's the only way I can say it, dude. They are just a irresponsible organization. Now is saying that they're fighting for undisputed with the WBC franchise belt. It just happens that Vasyly's the real champion. He just doesn't have to defend his belt at all. I mean, it's just like, it's crazy. But look, man, let's go through it. The first portion of it is that Chris Algieri says that Teofimo Lopez can knock out Vasyl Lomachenko. This is obvious, okay? Because anybody that Teofimo Lopez lands a nice shot on, a real shot, absolutely positively has the ability to get knocked out. And he's shown that in the fight with Richard Comey. Many people say who discount the idea that that Teofimo Lopez can win, doesn't really take into consideration the fact that anybody can get their light switch turned off, and Vasyl Lomachenko definitely falls into the category of anybody, right? At 135. Now, as Teofimo Lopez goes up to 140, goes up to 147, that might change. But you should look at, right? You should look at the fact that Teofimo Lopez is a young guy, man, barely over 20 years old, who is definitely a concussive power, has concussive power in both hands, and eventually is going to be at 147 pounds. Where Vasyl Lomachenko is an older fighter who began at 126 and then got up to 135. Man, that right there should tell you, dude, that the bigger, younger, powerful guy most definitely has the ability to catch the older guy and get him out of there. Now, whether or not he's able to do that is something else. But I think that, because you could say, well, hey, Fanon, wouldn't that be true of like Rolly Romero? If Rolly Romero hits Vasyl Lomachenko square on the chin, then Rolly Romero could knock him out? Because Rolly Romero is definitely a very, very powerful lightweight, because I do believe he's in the lightweight division. That's a Mayweather fighter. And if he touches Vasyl Lomachenko on the chin, he might be able to get Vasyl Lomachenko out there. But what is the chance of Rolly Romero actually catching Teofimo Lopez on the chin? Slim to none, because Rolly Romero is going to be getting hit on his chin on a regular basis by Vasyl Lomachenko. So you could just say, hey, Fanon, I don't really feel that. The way that I would differentiate somebody like Teofimo Lopez from Rolly Romero is that Teofimo Lopez ain't just following you around the ring, swinging wildly at you. Not saying that Rolly Romero's doing that, but he kind of is. But I say that to say he's a much more technically sound. He's a technically sound fighter, and most of the respect that I got from that I've heard people give to Teofimo Lopez behind the scenes and before I knew him as somebody that could knock you out with either hands, is that Teofimo Lopez is an excellent fighter. And so if you take a very powerful fighter who's a very talented young fighter and could be a potentially, if not actually, very special fighter. And they have the skills to set those type of things up, man. So, and then you look at the fact that Vasyl Lomachenko has had a much harder time at lightweight than he did at super featherweight and featherweight, right? Being knocked down by Jorge Linares, going the distance with Pedraza and Luke Campbell, right? The only real easy fight that I've seen him have at lightweight was the Anthony Corrala fight. And I do believe that Teofimo Lopez is going to knock out every single solitary one of those dudes that I just mentioned. Jose Pedraza, Jorge Linares, Luke Campbell, all of those guys are going out against Teofimo Lopez too. So, and that's the reason why I say that, I do lean towards Vasyl Lomachenko for the experience, but I'm not going to I cannot discount the significant chance that Teofimo Lopez can get out of here with this fight, man. And I'll leave alone the political reasons why I say that, but just think about this dude. The Teofimo Lopez is, I believe, the best fight that Vasyl Lomachenko has had since Gary Russell Jr. Or actually, man, it might be the toughest fight of his career, quite honestly, man. Because shoot, man, I think if he beats Teofimo Lopez, yeah, that's going to be a tougher fight for him than it is against Gary Russell Jr. Because Gary Russell Jr. at the time was more of an inexperienced fighter coming off of a long layoff. Earlier in his career, I would give Vasyl Lomachenko. I think this is a tougher opponent at lightweight than Gary Russell Jr. was at 126, and Vasyl Lomachenko was at 126. Vasyl Lomachenko beat him. Gary Russell Jr. dropped him. So to me, and I know that that's not an exactly, a scientific analysis of it. It's just kind of like anecdotal evidence, and I'll just slap it all together and give you my opinion. But, hey, I think that that's pretty fair. It works out on a regular basis, dude. When there's smoke, there's fire. When you're getting dropped by guys at 126 pounds and at 135 pounds, and you get pretty much a sweated down welterweight in the ring with you, with hand speed, strength, and the ability to box, dude, there's a chance you can get put up out of there. And I don't think that is that's an unfair evaluation. And the last part of it, I guess I will get into the politics of it a little bit. Also, for Bob Arum, who I don't trust as far as I can throw my block. You know what I mean? When I mean my block, I don't mean some block I got sitting here on my desk. I mean block like the block that we got 15 houses sitting on top of. I don't trust them, dog. So I believe it's about the sell-by date. Best to sell-by date is there on Vasyl Lomachenko. You know how you look at those milk cartons and they say best by October 10th, 2020, and you're like, I can still drink it, but it's not quite the best. It's not as fresh as it was a week ago, right? It's going to be a couple weeks, but if I keep this in my refrigerator a couple more days, it's not only going to not be in its best, it's going to expire. So let me drink and use everything in this milk while after its best by date, but before it actually expires, so I can get my money's worth, the money back that I put into this buying this milk. And I think the same thing applies to Vasyl Lomachenko with Bob Arum, man. Bob Arum is a shark. He ain't got no feelings. He ain't got no love for none of these boxers. He buys and sells them like trading cards. Okay, so ain't nothing safe over there for Vasyl Lomachenko, and the sell time looks like it's good for Bob Arum. Now, last, just to talk real quick about this WBC thing. The WBC is they're just ridiculous. And it's obvious, dude, that these guys are going to do what they got to do to make money and stay in business, and I can understand that. But it is just absolutely ridiculous that you would claim that Vasyl Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez is for an undisputed title when Alexander Usyk did not have a franchise belt to become undisputed. And there are and you would pretty much be holding up undisputed for every weight class that does not have a franchise champion. That to me does not seem particularly fair, man. Okay? And on top of it, you're not even asking these guys who are supposed to be champions to defend their belt. Vasyl Lomachenko's never defended a franchise belt, unless you're saying he's defending the franchise belt. But the last fight that he had where he had the franchise belt, which was God, man, who did he fight last? Whoever the guy Vasyl Lomachenko fought last, he had the franchise belt for that fight. Would that guy have become the franchise champion? No. He only becomes the franchise champion this fight because the WBC says so. Because they say so. So they're just gonna say so in this weight, our WBC weight belt counts in this weight class. In that weight class, our WBC doesn't count. No, get out of here, dude. You don't get to name who undisputed is. You get to name who the WBC champion is. And if you want to put up 15 different WBC champions, that's your business. But none of those 15 champions, other than the WBC regular belt, which all the other WBC champions have, except for the ones you're trying to give extra credit to, they can't be undisputed unless you give them a designation. Dog, get out of here, Mauricio Suleiman. That crap is terrible, and you got to do a better job. But anyway, it is what it is. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.